You've been diligent, you've been persistent, you've worked so hard on something, yet this activity doesn't seem to open up. But my friend, persistence can be dangerous. Persistence in and of itself is a double-edged sword. I know you're thinking this is counterintuitive. You've worked so hard to develop this muscle of persistence, and I commend you, by the way. It's a very good muscle to have. But you're on a journey to deconstruct wrong belief systems. So join me patiently. Persistence can be dangerous if you don't know how to use it. So chances are excellent you're an entrepreneur or you're somebody who's been diligent, who's been consistent, you've been putting in the hours, and it seems that this activity you're devoting all your time, your life, your energy to isn't opening up. And you're wondering to yourself, I thought a diligent hand shall be made fast. I thought once you develop or once you devote your time and your life to something, it opens up eventually. That is true, by the way, on a long enough horizon. If you do something on a long enough time frame, it would open up eventually. You can force something to open up. But my friend, within the average time frame, within the stipulated time of destiny actualization, there are some things that should happen over the course of a number of diligence, over the course of a number of iterations. I want you to understand that there are different scenarios, and every scenario comes with two approaches, which I'm about to share with you. There's a scenario that requires diligence and persistence. Then there's a scenario that requires you to pivot entirely. Not that the iteration and the time you spent on the previous business has gone to null or is a waste of effort, but it is that knowledge, that body of knowledge you would sustain that puts you ahead in the next business or in the next venture you pivot towards. Take for example Steve Jobs. He developed Next Computers. Next Computers was a new kind of graphic interface. He devoted all his time, his energy, his effort towards it. It was not working. He still tried. It didn't work. Then he pivoted to Pixar. That Pixar, as you know, it is an animation, cartoon animation. That's what they do. But it was the graphic interface for Next that they now used on Pixar. Even Apple, when he went back to Apple, it was still the same technology from Next that they further used to develop the iPhone, making Apple one of the most valuable companies at the time. Even up until this point, Apple is still relevant. How do you know when to pivot? Let me give you an analogy. When you go to the gym to work out, you and I know that that situation requires diligence and persistence. If you do it a number of times, if you show up day after day, chances are excellent you would attain a good physique. Conversely, a wire analogy. If you join two wires together and it blows up, you join it again, it blows up. You try the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, still the same result. Do you think diligence or consistency would solve that kind of problem? Let's take it from an exception perspective. Say you have to go underneath and you be engineering to design something such that when you join the wires, it doesn't blow up. You see now that you have to change something, although it's still the same object of focus, but something changed. There's something underneath that's different. Everyone knows Thomas Edison. His name is now synonymous with persistence and diligence. He tried 1,000 times to create the light bulb. Anytime we click the button of click the switch in order to turn on the light, we salute the man, our benefactor, Thomas Edison, a man who stayed on course to provide and serve humanity. But what you forget is in during those iterations, it's a thousand different approaches. Every approach acting as a ladder to the next big thing, the next big thing. So you see now that, my friend, your diligence and persistence in that business was not wasted, such that when you try this new business and it clicks immediately, you have now built the muscle of diligence and persistence. Had you done that process initially, it would have produced a weak and a lazy entrepreneur. Even my channel, I love personal development. I like speaking to the camera. I like changing people's lives. I love re-engineering the way people think. I love doing that. And while speaking at first, the channel never took off. Nobody was clicking. Very few people were engaging on my channel. And it was kind of depressing, but I persisted because this is what I like doing. I have passion for it. So there's this quote which I love very much, which is, when you love what you're doing, it will no longer seem like work to you. Wrong. When you love what you're doing, you're going to work like never before, but the tools will seem lighter in your hands. I find this to be very true. So I created 230 something videos and I was averaging on 2 views alone. The first view being my brother and the second my other brother. How I would know that my junior brother has gone back to boarding school is when the view count drops to one. And any day I got a double digit view count, it was still favorable. That was a happy day for me, because and I had to redo that video because the video seems favorable to the algorithm such that it needs to be redone. That was the kind of reality I was living in, and I was doing it happily. All of a sudden, I switched to the gym content. The first video got a long form content. For me, it was a huge result at the time. 300 views within 3 days of publication. I'm like, wow, the first video, 300 views, and I've been struggling here. Click on the next one, millions of views. Did I change what I'm doing? No, I pivoted. Can you now see that those skills I've learned along the way is now beneficial to this new thing I'm doing? Let me give you another analogy and we wrap up. Say you sell cake, for instance. You love baking cake and selling them. So you sell cake to individuals. Perhaps you're located in a student area where the student might not be financially disposed to purchase cake. Instead, you know, if you sell sausage rolls or donuts, it will be more profitable. But you're so emotionally connected to these cakes, because when you do something long enough, you become emotionally attached to it, such that pivoting seems like a betrayal to your current goals. You know, selling sausages will be more profitable to your business than cakes. I'll tell you what to do in that scenario. Sell 3 sausages at first. Put it on the counter and see who buys. My friend, I guarantee you, before noon, before 12 noon, your counter will be empty because all the sausages have been taken. When you sell sausages and it's now profitable, you can start baking cakes on the side. But what you have to do is focus on the sausages, and when it's enlarged enough that you have customers trooping, you would invariably attract the quality of people that need the cake you sell. But don't be selfish enough to not want to sell sausages because you love selling cake. Do what works, my friend. Do what works. When the cake business is now sufficient enough, you can do the sausage on the side. You will balance the scale. Before, the sausage was 80, the cake was 20. When the cake is now a big business, you can rebalance the scale. Or if you're like me, add more weight to the both to the both product. So if that one was 80, one was 20, add a extra 20 to the 80, so it becomes 100, and add 80 to the cake business, so it's 100. The scale is balanced. Full force. You have to know when to pivot. You have to know when to be consistent. Why do people, although they know what to pivot to, remain where they are? Like I said, when you stay close to a problem long enough, you become emotionally attached to this problem. When you are attached to this problem, you do not want to pivot, not because you do not see any other way. At least that's what you tell yourself. You see, this is all I'm focused on, and I commend your laser focus. It's a very difficult skill to attain. But another thing you're scared of doing when it comes to pivoting is you don't want to lose your consistency streak. You've been doing this for 3 months, 4 months, 2 months. You don't want to stop, and you don't have to. All I am saying, all I recommend is try something else while doing what you're doing. When that something else clicks invariably, as it always would, you see that when you try that next step, you wonder why you have not started sooner. That would be the only thing, that would be the only words you can utter. Because I guarantee you, when you pivot, it's going to work out. I'm not saying you should leave what you're doing completely, but when you start something else, do something else, try it out. Don't be caught up with this pride of trying to be consistent and virtue signal. Oh, I've been doing this for a year now, 2 years now, 3 years now. It's not working. Stop punishing your destiny, yourself, your family indefinitely. Stop. You're hurting yourself. When you stay in that consistency streak that is not building results, and there are cases, like I said, I've caught it now that there are cases that requires diligence and consistency. There are situations that requires pivoting. To know your situations before you make that decision. So before you do anything in life, before you do anything today, before you start any new venture, I want you to ask yourself, is this a gym situation or a wire scenario? Is this a gym or wire scenario? Ask yourself that question. Is this a gym or wire scenario? Ask yourself, is this a gym or wire situation? As always, my friend, it's a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.